Okay. I think we're finally live. Sorry about that. I probably lost a bunch of people doing that, but we had some technical difficulties. It's funny, no matter how many times I do a live show, there's always something that comes up. And I've used this software dozens of times, and um, something always comes up. All right. Looking good. Got about 150 people. Got started a little bit late. So we'll see if any stragglers want to come in. We'll give about a few minutes before we get started. Boy, that was frustrating. I kept on starting the stream and it didn't want to pick it up in the on the YouTube studio, but finally I've finally got it working. So, all right. Let me look at the stats and see how many we got now. I'm getting there. Okay. We'll give it just a couple more minutes and let everybody trickle in. Sorry for all the technical difficulties. That's it's the nature of the beast. There's always something. All right, let's see if we can get to 200 and then we'll start. What do you call a locomotive that keeps sneezing? A choo-choo. That was easy. Someone's saying happy Halloween, but yeah, I think you're about 30 days, 29 days too soon. 460, we'll talk about that in a minute. Congrats on 75K. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. I got to write this stuff down. If you want me to talk about something, put the topic in the chat right now, and I'll do it when we get going in a minute. Oh, now we're over 200. That's good. I'm gonna go while everybody's trickling in. I'm gonna go grab I'll grab Jesse. I don't know if he'll get up on the table, but he'll be down here. Give me a second. Jesse. Okay. Woo. All right. All right. It's 8:20. We're 20 minutes late, but we'll get started. Jesse's making his way down into the train room right now, slowly. So, smash the like button. Yes, that's the term these days. It used to be click the like button. Now, last year or two, it's been smash the like button. I guess it's different if you smash it versus clicking it. So, although I guess if it's on a phone or a tablet, I guess you are kind of smashing it. So, okay. See, here's Chessie. Come here, Chessie. Here he is. Oh, Chessie. He says, "What the heck's going on?" Okay. So let's get started. So you'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen, we've got the original Lionel Vision Line 700E, and of course that's because Lionel just announced that they are bringing back the 700E, or they're calling it the Vision Line Hudson, but it's the 700E. In fact, they mentioned the 700E in the description. They just don't call it the 700E. They mentioned 700E in the paragraph that says, the long history of Lionel and this and that, but they don't actually call it a 700E in the little, in the print there. So, but it is the same model. It is. I had someone ask me if it's the 700E or a different model, and it is the same thing. They're just redoing it. So let me, so what you're looking at there is the original one from 2009 that I got. That's the 5344 they did at the time, back in the day in 2009. In addition to me being much younger than I am now, Lionel really didn't go crazy with the number of paint schemes for a Vision Line model. And so for, when they put out the 700E, there were only two versions. There was the black 5344 and there was a gunmetal gray version, which I'm not sure if it was 5344 or not. I don't have that one, but there were two. There was a black and a gray one, and that was it. And that's the way most of the Vision Line models were. The CC2 or the 210-10-2. It really wasn't up until, gosh, I'm trying to remember. It really wasn't up until the Southern Pacific daylight stuff, the GS stuff, that Lionel really sort of broke it open and started doing a bunch of different colors and variations and stuff. And then, of course, now we have a lot to choose from, relatively speaking, compared to what we did in 2009. So I think feature-wise, let me pull up the website. And if you have any questions, hold them. I'll pause in a few minutes and take some questions. But if you're asking questions right now, I'm not gonna be able to. I might not see them. So, but let me pull up. I did see one question real quick. Someone said, "Why only two versions?" And that's because they. That's just what they did back then. I was telling someone that earlier today. In 2009, the Vision Line was still pretty new, and Lionel, hopefully you guys can see this now. Let me I'm gonna remove, let me see here, that one. Oops. I'm gonna remove that one, and we will do one of these things. Let me see here. Not that. We'll do that. So the reason they only did two was because back in 2009, the Vision Line was still new, and it really was something different than it is now. I mean, when the Vision Line first came out, it was really about doing cutting edge models and not fantasy paint schemes and all this kind of stuff. It really was, I I mean, it was kind of like it was kind of like the Rolls Royce of trains, if you will. I mean, none of that stuff had ever been done before. I mean, you're talking smoking whistle was new then, the swinging bell, the blowdown steam, the cylinder steam, all that kind of stuff had never been done before. The battery charge lights on the ES44, moving fan blades, all that kind of stuff. The Lionel had never done that. And um, so for Lionel to do a bunch of different versions really didn't make sense at that point because it was a new product line. They were very expensive. Lionel wasn't sure. I don't think they were positive that the Vision line was going to be a hit. So they I think they played it conservatively and just did a couple different variations. And that's really what it comes down to. Anyway, so let me go to the thing here. So they're calling it the J1E Hudson. And again, if you have questions, save them in a few minutes. I'll take questions in a few minutes. If you're writing questions now, there's a good chance I won't be able to see it. Because I'm looking at a different screen. So they're calling it the J1E Hudson, aka the 700E, a reissue of the one they did in 2009. So for 2025, we're basically getting 2 reruns for the Vision line. 2023 was the big the last time I was told by Lionel, they do new Vision line releases on the even years and re-releases on the odd years. So 2023 was the big boy re-release, 2024 the triplex, 2025 GG1 and the 700E, and they're doing 2 so that they're really doing 2 that are going to come out in 2025 because of the 125th anniversary. Obviously, that's a big number for Lionel, and it's fitting that they would bring out 2 Vision line engines for 2025. Even though I think the GG1 was technically 2024, it's going to come out in 2025. So will the 700E. And I think that's perfect because, a year or two ago when we were all speculating about what Lionel was going to do for the 125th anniversary, I was like, well, if they're going to do a Vision line, they should bring back something that is emblematic of Lionel's history. Something that really, it has a place in Lionel's, long history. And there's several you could do. I mean, there's the 700E, originally released in 1937, I think. There's the GG1, originally released in 1946, I want to say, or thereabouts. You could also do the Santa Fe Super Chief, which I'm sure they'll probably do a version of the Super Chief in the catalog. It won't be Vision line, but and there's other ones you could do that would be sort of examples of Lionel's long storied history. And so when we were thinking about, okay, what are they going to do? I was like, well, I would really like them to do the 700E again because they haven't done it since 2009, and they could do it in a bunch of cool paint schemes. But I also said, the GG1 is just as iconic as the 700E, if not more, depending on who you ask. So I think Lionel solved both of those problems. They did both. They did the GG1 and the 700E, which really, in terms of celebrating the 125th anniversary, short of coming out with something brand new tooling, which would cost an arm and a leg, I think doing the 700E and the GG1 is really the best of both worlds. You're getting really 2 iconic engines in 1 year, and that's really cool. And I think as if we open this catalog, I think one of the reasons that they're able to do 2 Vision line engines in 1 year, and this kind of gets complicated, I'll get into it in a minute, but you'll notice the price on these is if you get one without the whistle scoop, the water scoop steam effect, it's $1,800. If you get one with the water scoop steam effect, it's $1,900. So an extra $100 for the the water scoop effect. And I think you know the prices on these. I mean, yes, it's a lot of money. $1,800, $1,900. That's a lot of money. But in terms of Vision Line locomotives, um, they're actually pretty reasonable. I think that's about as in this day and age, it's about as reasonable as Vision Line is going to get. And the GG1 likewise was also fairly reasonable. I can't remember what it. Let me see. Hang on a second. The GG1 was. Oh, where is it? The GG1. If I can find it. There it is. So the GG1 was, God, my eyesight's getting bad. $1,700. So, $1,700, $1,800 or $1,900, depending on which one you get. If you're going to release two Vision Line engines and have them come out in the same calendar year, that's about as good as it gets in terms of doing something that is as affordable as possible with both locomotives. I mean, if they had done, the triplex and a big boy in the same year, or the big boy and the centipede in the same year, I mean, then you're going over $2,000 for each locomotive, and it gets even crazier for people to afford it. So I think there's a little bit of not only are these appropriate for the 125th, but they're also, as far as the Vision Line goes, relatively affordable Vision Line engines. I'm sure I'm going to catch some shit for that, but that's the truth. I mean, that's the way it is. We all wish Vision Line engines would sell for $100, but they don't. And anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000 is really, in this day and age, the sweet spot for a Vision Line engine. And I think they hit that sweet spot with both of these. And I got no complaints about that. Not everybody's going to be able to afford it. That's the same story as always, but at least more people will be able to afford these than if they did something even more expensive. Or, and not only are they, is the 700E on the affordable end of Vision Line engines. They also added the water scoop effect, which increases its value even more than the previous. So it's not a pure rerun, which is something that Lionel tends to do. Whenever they do a rerun of a Vision Line engine, they usually will tweak something or add something special just to up the ante a little bit. So with the release of the big boy, they scrapped the I forget what it was, but they added the safety steam effect, and I think they scratched the dual chuff. They scratched the dual chuff on the smokestack, and devoted one of those smoke units for the safety steam effect, which I think was a great trade-off. And so here with the 700E, they're giving you, it's a rerun, but they're adding a little bit something special by giving you that water scoop tender. So I think it's great. I wasn't surprised to see them announce this. I was actually kind of relieved. I was glad that they weren't doing something that didn't make sense in terms of the 125th. It would have been cool if they did a new tooling of some sort, but they weren't going to do that. So all things considered, I think they did a great job. So we've got they're doing 9 different versions. They've got 5344, of course, the flagship 700E, like they did before, and then they've got 8 different versions, almost all of which are New York Central, except for that Toronto, Hamilton, and Buffalo down at the bottom right. I heard some people complaining that the TH&B one isn't exactly accurate to that road name, but I think it's nice that Lionel threw it in. I mean, they could have just kept it all New York Central. So I think they gave us a really good selection here. The pacemaker, obviously, that's going to get everyone's attention. Now, I do have some questions about the offerings that Lionel did, and and I'm sure a lot of you guys have those questions too, which is, you know, first of all, why is there no superset? I was hoping, these days when they put out a Vision Line engine, there's um, a superset where you have the engine and some freight or passenger cars. And it would have been so cool if they did a superset that had the 700E with the Rail Chief passenger cars, or a modern interpretation of those that they did in the 1930s. That would have been so cool, or some Madison cars to go behind it. That would have been so cool, and or do a freight set as well. When the original 700E came out in 1937, they did a passenger set and a freight set, and they could have done recreations of both of those, and it would have been so cool. I don't know why they didn't do that. The other question I have is, why is there no Lionel Lines version? And why, I think it would have been cool to have a gold version, like a gold plated version. I think that would have been really cool too. And they don't have any of those things. So I think the reason, if I had to guess, it's one of probably two or three things. It's number one is just they forgot and they didn't feel like doing it. Probably not likely. Number two is that they're going to be doing it maybe in the 2025 Volume 1 catalog. They will offer a superset or some matching passenger cars or something like that to go with it. Number three is that it could be that Lionel's going to pull one of those things they've been doing every year, where they're going to do a locomotive that you can only order through Lionel and not through Lionel dealers. So they might do a gold plated or a Lionel Lines version that you have to order directly from Lionel. I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like it when Lionel does that. I don't think most people do. I know dealers certainly don't like it, but that's what they do these days. They try to do one that's directly from Lionel, like they did with the Polar Express and last year. And it'll be cool if they do it. I mean, I'd like to see it. I'm not a big fan of them doing it directly through Lionel and not through the dealer network, but it'd still be cool if they did it. So, and then the other thing is that they might have not done a superset because they did do a triplex superset, and they also did several GG1 sets. And so they might have thought, well, maybe we're overdoing it with the sets, and that's too much for people to afford. But I don't think that. I don't think Lionel's that concerned with what people can afford or not when it comes to Vision Line. So I would have liked to have seen a superset. So I'm hoping that when the 2025 Volume 1 Big Book comes out, maybe fingers crossed, we will see a superset of some sort, or at least some matching passenger cars and matching freight cars. We'll have to see. But that's my only gripe. I wish there was more. I could have done with maybe two less of these New York Central versions and just have a cool superset and a gold plated or a Lionel Lines version. At least a Lionel Lines version, would be cool. Even if they did it like they did with the 844 years ago, where they had magnetic plates that you could put on it that would say Lionel Lines, that you could swap out. You could put over the New York Central and have it say Lionel Lines. So maybe they'll do that. But that's that. Now, you guys are probably wondering which ones I'm going to order here. I'm probably going to order two. I definitely want one with the water scoop steam effect. So I will definitely order probably the gray one, that sort of gunmetal gray version that they have there that has the water scoop effect. That one above the pacemaker. This one right here. And also, I will probably just because I'm a sucker for it, I will probably also order the pacemaker version, just because that's going to be so cool. I mean, the pacemaker Mohawk they put out a few years ago, that thing is just, everybody loves that thing. And so this is going to be a home run. So So yeah, those two are probably the ones I'm going to order. I've been told by Legacy Station that the dealer deadline for orders is December 2nd, if I'm remembering correctly. So you've got some time to think about it, but I think those are the ones I'm going to order. So, but that's it. I mean, they really kept it brief. They didn't really do too much stuff here. It's got the same feature. The engine itself has the same features. It's got the whistle steam and the swinging bell. And then, of course, you've got that option for the water scoop effect with the PT tender. And I think the PT tender was a logical thing because they've already done that. They've already done several Hudsons with the water scoop steam effect. Or several PT tenders. They did the dry fist with the PT tender. They did the J3A with the PT tender. So they've done it. And so it only made sense for them to pair it up with the Vision Line 700E. So that's that. Anyway, I've been rambling for a while. So let me take some questions. I'm going to pause here and we will do some questions and see what people think. And then I've got some other topics we can talk about. Hey, we're over 300 people. Nice. Thank you so much, people. Someone says, did you order it yet? No, I have not put my order in. I'm going to think about it. Like I said, the deadline is December 2nd, so there's no rush. As I've said many, many, many times before, it does not matter when you get your pre-order in, whether it's the first day or the last day. All that matters is that you get it in before the deadline. That's all that matters. And so I'll wait on it. I'll think about it. I'll talk to Lisa. See what she thinks, and then we'll put our orders. I'll put my orders in. So, are you going to do a review on the Menards FP7? I assume you're talking about these things. Yes, I'm in the process of filming a review right now. I'm trying to get it done as soon as I can. I'm having to squeeze in the triplexes and I had to do an announcement for the open house. I had to do a video about the little the speeders that came in, and that's coming out. So yes, but I am working on it as we speak. It's in progress. Several people asked that. Someone says, what catalog is this? This is a separate, it's just it's not a catalog. It's like I guess you could call it like a flyer almost. It's just a Vision Line announcement. It's listed, if you go to the Lionel site and look at their catalogs, it's listed with the other catalogs, but it is just a 2 or 3 page announcement of the new Vision Line engine. They did the same thing when they announced the triplex last year, and now they're doing it with the 700E. What's my favorite Hudson? Well, I just talked about that. I like the gray with the gray stripe. I guess you call that gunmetal gray or New York Central gray, and I like the pacemaker. Those are probably the two that I'm going to order. We'll see. I don't have to order 5344. I've already got it. What is one type of locomotive that you want a model of? Oh, Jesus. Oh, that is a tough one. I don't know. I mean, you could go down that rabbit hole for years. I've talked about this before. I would like to see Lionel do some European stuff or some foreign stuff, or I would like to see them do some 19th century trains, like a really nice 440 American, like with Legacy and all that stuff, maybe a Vision Line 440 American, something like that. But you could go down that rabbit hole for hours talking about what Lionel should do. So, yeah, I mean, I just take what, I just look at what they bring out, and, you can dream all you want, but it doesn't do any good unless you, unless you have your own train company, you can make those things happen. So, someone mentioned the gold Hudson. We just talked about that. I'm hoping, I was hoping they would bring out a gold Hudson for the 125th, but It's not in the offering. I'm wondering it'll either be in the 2025 Volume 1, the full catalog that comes out, or if it'll be in the or if Lionel will do a direct to consumer offering like they did with that blue Polar Express thing last year. So that I, it's not happening now, but that doesn't mean it won't happen at some point in the near future. Let's put it that way. A lot of questions about the Gold Hudson. Yeah. So there's your answer. Um, do you want Lionel to bring back the Vanderbilt and Mercury and Yellow Belly? The Yellow Belly, I've got the original model that Lionel did in the 90s. I have heard rumors that they are bringing it back. Um, I think if they do, it'll have to be a newly tooled model because I don't know if they have the original tooling. I've heard rumors that they're going to bring it back. I hope they do. What would my reaction be if Lionel made a M10,000? Well, they did make an M10,000 many years ago in the pre-war days. MTH made one. I don't think they're going to make one, but it'd be cool if they did. Uh, MTH should just re-release theirs. But if we talk about things that MTH should re-release, we'll be here for hours. Let's see here. We'll do a few more questions. I'll make myself a little bigger so that you guys can see me. Do I wish that Lionel would make a Flying Scotsman? Sure. I mean, you could fill in anything. Do I wish Lionel would make a fill in the blank? And the answer is going to be yes. I mean, there's nothing there's nothing new that they could make where I'd be like, I wish they didn't make that. I mean, who does that? I would like it if they made anything new. A Vision Line SD70, it'd be cool, but it's not going to happen. Not a chance. Let's see here. Now we're just okay. So we'll do a couple more questions. Let me see if any roll in. I haven't been to the Lionel store in Nashville. I've been to the one in Concord, but not Nashville. I haven't had any reason to go to Nashville. I might go to the one in Concord soon again, but that's a different story. I don't have any guests coming on tonight just because it was short notice. Except Lisa. Maybe Lisa will come down or something, but no. Someone keeps asking, what's your favorite railroad? All of the above. I like them all. I guess if you go by the numbers, I probably have the railroad I probably have the most of is locomotive wise is probably Santa Fe. And it's certainly one of my favorites, but I like them all. I don't discriminate. All right. So yes, I'm going to York. Someone asked if I'm going to York. Yeah, I'll be going to York. We're actually going to be doing a little excursion while we're at York. We're going to go to York, and then we're going to go up to Bradford, Pennsylvania, and go to the Zippo factory and visit that. I've always wanted to go up there, and so we worked that into this year's trip. So that should be fun. All right. So, are you a member of the LCCA? No, I used to be, but my membership lapsed, and I've never had a reason to renew. I'm a member of the TCA and the NMRA. That doesn't mean I won't rejoin the LCCA at some point, but I just, it's not something that's burning on my mind or anything like that. Someone says, new to your channel, would you recommend O-scale to beginner? Sure, why not? It's better than HO. I'll probably start a civil war with that. Let's see here. Okay, anyway, so How'd you make out with the hurricane? We did fine. We were fine. We just got a bunch of rain. Some other people weren't as fortunate, but they really got it up in the mountains, like Asheville up there. Boy, they're like underwater up there. They got it really bad. So, um, if I only own Lion Chief engines, is adding base 3 worthwhile? If you just have Lion Chief, probably not. If you have Lion Chief plus 2.0, maybe. Um, you know, I guess. Probably not the best person to ask about that. All right. Um, Someone says, why do engines sound like a jet engine when they start up? MTH steam engines do that. It's the oh gosh, I should know. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it has to do with the like the air compressors or something like that. When they start up, they make that whine, and somebody else can probably answer that better than me. But it has to do with some sort of air. I think it's the air compressors or something like that starting up when you start up a steam engine. All right. My recommendation for budget O gauge, go to menards.com. Hands down. Dynamo, that's the dynamo. Okay. Yeah. The dynamo spinning up. MTH engines, all MTH steam engines have that. When you start them up, they go, woo, they do that spin up of the dynamo, and you get that whine. I know engines don't do that as much, but MTH, they all do it. All right, so let's go back to let's talk about some other stuff besides the Hudson. So, someone was asking about the let me change my screen here. So someone was asking about we'll just go to full screen. Why not? Someone was asking about someone said thanks for congrats on 75,000 subscribers. Thanks. We're at 76 now. We just passed 76. I've been wanting to do a $75,000 live show and give away some stuff, but I haven't had time to do it yet. And I need to really do it right and have some activities planned for the show. So maybe it might not happen until 80,000, but it'll happen. And then someone asked about the Eric's Trains 460. The speeders just came out, the little Eric's Trains speeders. I'm doing it. I got a video about these coming out in just probably later this week. I just finished editing it today. The speeders are sold out, so you can't get one unless someone sells it on eBay or something. The 460s are going to be coming in, I believe right now it's estimated late October or early November. That's usually when those things arrive, but that's the estimate right now. I don't think it's on the water yet, but it's coming soon, and I'm really excited about that. That's the custom steam engine that I'm doing, and that should be really cool. I'm really excited about that. But we do have the speeders, and then the custom flat car with trailers that we just announced a few months ago. Those won't be around until spring of 2025. I think is when they're gonna arrive. A lot of times whenever I do a video where I show one of the custom runs, like I'll do a video that shows the speeder. I'll do it on Instagram and TikTok and so forth, and undoubtedly someone will say, "How can I get one? Where do I get one?" And I'm like, "Well, I announced it all over the place when we were planning on making it," and so the thing about the custom runs, at least the ones that we do, the thing about the custom runs is that we only do as many as we get orders for. It's not like we just order 1,000 and then have them sit at the train store hoping that people buy them. You take pre-orders, and so if you want one, you have to pre-order it. So we got orders for 120 of these, and we made 120. So that's why they're sold out. Um, Sometimes Legacy Station will order a couple extras. Sometimes someone will cancel who ordered one. They'll cancel, and then there's one left. There's one available, but usually it's going to be hard to get one other than finding one on eBay or something, unless you pre-order it. So the way you get custom runs, just like any other people's custom runs, whether it's Mr. Muffins or Legacy Station or Brady's Trains. The way that you find out about these custom runs is that you become a subscriber. So you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and if you follow me and keep up with it, you will see when I announce these custom runs, and then you'll be able to get your order in and get one. So it's really that simple. Um, okay, that takes care of that. So the 460 will be coming in soon, and that's gonna be fun. It's the first custom run Eric's Train steam engine that we're doing, and it should be cool. We chose the 460 because it's really the most affordable legacy steam engine you can get. It's I think the pre-sale price, the pre-order price was like $750, which is about as cheap as a legacy steam engine gets. And so that's why we decided to do it. And so that's going to be really cool when it comes in. I can't wait. I think I've got a let me see here. Yeah, I've got a picture of it. There it is. I think that's one of the wait a minute. That might be no, that's one of the I got a bunch of images here. I think that's the pre-production art. Yeah. So that's what it's going to look like. Sorry, I don't know why there we go. So that's what it's going to look like. It should be pretty cool when it arrives. And again, that's like in late October, early November. There's also, and then those are the flat car that I mentioned. That'll be here spring of 2025. So should be cool. Here's some artwork for some crude artwork for an Eric's Trains doodlebug that we were thinking about doing, which I might still do at some point. So we'll take some more questions. Let's see here. Oh, someone just asked, any ideas for the next custom run? Yeah, maybe a doodlebug, or if Lionel reruns the Lion Chief Plus 2.0 060s, definitely do one of those. But I also just want to do some rolling stock. So we'll probably do another piece of rolling stock when the 2025 Volume 1 catalog comes out. Probably do like a box car or something like that. So I'd like to start getting more rolling stock to go with the engines. Do I think they'll bring back the blue bonnet? I don't know. Maybe. I hope. Yeah, the doodlebug. We almost did the doodlebug. We were debating between the doodlebug and the 460, and I personally kind of wanted to do the doodlebug, but people were asking for Steam. It's more popular, and so I kind of caved to popular demand and did the 460. But kind of in my heart, I wanted to do the doodlebug just because it's such an unusual piece of motive power. So it'll probably come back again at some point in the future. Is there a way to wire Lion Chief engines to run conventionally? I think, don't they run conventionally out of the box? I don't think they require the remote. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't run Lion Chief engines, straight Lion Chief engines that often. So I thought they would run conventionally. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone says, could you do a set Yeah, you can do a set, and I've thought about doing an Eric's Trains Appalachian and Western set, like a Lion Chief set. The problem is that the problem is that the minimum orders are too high. I believe to do a set, you have to sell 500 of them, and there's no way I'm going to find 500 people to spend $500 on a Lion Chief set. Not in this day and age. If it was 10 years ago, maybe, but in this day and age where custom runs have just gone crazy through the roof, there's no way I'm going to find 500 people to spend money on a Lion Chief set. So there's some other alternatives I've been looking at, but yeah, a set that's going to be a tall order. Unless you guys can find me 500 people willing to plunk down money on a Appalachian and Western Lion Chief set, probably not going to happen. Now, it might be something I can go in on it with somebody else, and that's sort of in the works. That's sort of been talked about, but yeah, it's a tall. Either way, it's a tall order. Someone asked if Lionel or MCH made a model of the LMS locos. Are those the British ones? I love British and European locomotives. They're not going to do it, but it'd be cool if they did. When I do a custom run based on the new 700E, yeah, Legacy Station was like, why don't you do an Eric's Trains Vision Line 700E? And my answer to that was no, because it's just one of those things where it's a great idea, but you have to find at least 40 people that are willing to spend $1,900 on an Eric's Trains steam engine. And so that would be challenging. Mr. Muffins and all those guys, they're going to come out with about a bazillion custom paint schemes for the 700E the way it is. And so already people are going to have probably 50 700Es to choose from before it's all done, said and done. And asking people to spend $1,900 on an Appalachian and Western Vision Line locomotive, that again, I don't think there's enough demand out there for it. The other thing is that I think there'd be a lot of backlash if I put out a $1,900 Eric's Trains locomotive. There's a lot of people out there who get mad if something's expensive. They get pissed, and it would kind of not be very good PR wise. They'd be like, who does he think he is putting out we can't afford that. Eric's lost touch with reality, and on all that kind of stuff. So yeah, for those reasons, it's probably not going to happen. I won't say it will never happen, but it probably won't happen. Probably not with the 700E. Although I'd love it if it did. That's the problem. You gotta be careful these days with talking about how much things cost, because people get really hostile. You review a locomotive and you say it's $2,000, and people get really hostile. I can't afford that. I mean, not just on trains, on anything. If you watch I watch a lot of car reviews, and if you watch car reviews, they'll say, yeah, here's the new Hummer EV pickup, and it's $110,000 or whatever it is. And then people inevitably blow up the comment section saying, oh, that's what's wrong with America. We have $110,000 pickup trucks. Nobody's going to buy that. And this is, pickup trucks shouldn't be that expensive. And it's like, well, somebody's buying them. Otherwise they wouldn't be making it, and it just, people get really hostile when you talk about, how expensive something is. And my view on it is it's probably not a very popular view, but I'll spend just a moment philosophizing. But my view on expensive things is that if something's expensive and you can't afford it, that's your fault. That's not the people making its fault. That's your fault. Okay? Plain and simple. I would love to have a Lamborghini, okay, or a Ferrari. I can't afford one. Now, is it Ferrari's fault and Lamborghini's fault that I can't afford one? No, it's my fault. It's the choices that I made in my life. I could have worked my butt off, gone through school and gone to medical school or gone to law school and worked my butt off and worked 5 part-time jobs to pay for my education and get through law school and get a big fancy law degree and be a big fancy lawyer and make the kind of money where I can get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. I could have done that, but I didn't. And so that's my fault, and so, when you see things that you can't afford, it's it's not the people making its fault. That's that if you can't afford it, that is your problem. And these days people don't want to accept personal responsibility very much. They want to blame somebody else for their problems. And I mean, the reality is if you can't afford it, you got to look in the mirror and say, okay, I can't afford it. Am I okay with that? What do I need to do to get to a point where I can afford it? Or do I just need to accept the fact that I can't afford it and move on? With a Ferrari, I've accepted the fact that I can't afford it. The choices I've made in my life have led me to where I am. And while I do okay financially, I'm not disappointed. I'm happy with where I'm at. You know, there are some things I can't afford. And that's just the way it is, and that's my fault. It's not Ferrari's fault. It's not anybody else's fault except mine. And so, yeah. So my advice to people is always personal responsibility. Take responsibility for your own life, for your own successes and your own failures. Some things are people just get unfortunate. They get injured. They get, they lose the use of their leg, or they have some sort of medical disability, and that's unfortunate. It stinks, but that's life. Life is unfair, and anybody who tells you otherwise is lying or trying to get something from you. Anyway, so let's get back to we'll take some questions. See, someone says, thanks for saying that. I guarantee I've pissed somebody off, though. I guarantee you somebody is mad at me for saying that. But it's like, take responsibility for yourself and don't blame other people for your for your problems. Everybody has problems. Me, I'm no exception. And when I see, I'm going off again, but when I see a rich person, when I see a millionaire, I'm not jealous of them. I don't hate them. I admire them, because most people who are wealthy got there by busting their butts. I mean, some people were born into it. That's true. But most people who are really wealthy busted their butt in some way or another, whether it's a professional athlete or a politician or a lawyer or a financial guy. I mean, they busted their butt to get where they are, and they sacrificed a lot. And so, yeah, don't hate rich people and don't blame other people for your problems. There we go. That's the end of my soapbox. So let me see here. I don't think Lionel, well, someone says it's pretty clear Lionel is price gouging. I wouldn't call it price gouging. I would call it, they charge a premium for the name on the box. I think that the folks at Lionel understand and believe that having the Lionel logo on a box commands a certain elevated price tag. And it's why Lionel is more expensive than MTH or Atlas or pretty much anybody else, because of the name on the box. But, they're not alone in that. There are tons of, like a Mercedes, part of the price tag of a Mercedes is that logo on the front of the hood. Part of the price tag of a Ferrari is that Ferrari emblem on the hood. It's the name recognition and the power of the name. You see that in the automobile industry all the time, where the name means everything and you can command a high price with your name. And I think even though I'm not comparing Lionel to Mercedes or Ferrari or anything, the Lionel name, it's an American icon. It's been around for 125 years, and they feel, and there's a little bit of truth in there, that the Lionel name, it commands a higher price tag. And so I think I mean, that's the reason why, MTH, I mean, Lionel bought some MTH models and they put them out. Like, for instance, a classic example, great example. Yeah, you're paying for a name. Someone said that. Um, Classic example. Okay, Lionel bought a lot of stuff from MTH, not just locomotives. They also bought some of their building kits, and they took some of the MTH O gauge buildings, put them in a Lionel box, slapped a Lionel logo on the box, and increased the price by 30, 40, 50%. So what was a $79 and $99 building from MTH is now a $179 building from Lionel. Why? Because they feel the Lionel name has clout, and they can do it and get away with it. So I wouldn't call that price gouging. I would just call it leveraging your brand recognition. And every big brand does it, whether it's Lionel, Mercedes, Ferrari, anybody. I collect Swiss Army knives. I collect knives in general, and if it's got the Victorinox logo on it, they can command a higher price than if some just random other company came out with the exact same product. They'd have to sell it less than what Victorinox sells it for, because Victorinox has the brand recognition. It's the same for Lionel. So, sorry, that was a long-winded answer. I guarantee, though, I'm going to pay a price for saying that stuff about accepting personal responsibility, because some people get mad about that stuff. They want to blame others for their problems. Yeah, someone said you're paying for a name. The Lionel name is worth a lot, and the owners had to pay for it. Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful name. That's why a lot of Chinese companies now will buy up nameplates of old products. For instance, like what's that? Maytag, with the washing machines and stuff. I think Maytag is owned by some other company now, but they still use the Maytag name, or like electronics are like that all the time. Someone will buy an old name and put it out. Like you can buy those record players, those cheap record players, and they say Victrola on them because someone bought the rights to use the Victrola name, because there's people of a certain age demographic who remember the name Victrola and are like, oh, it's Victrola, it must be good, even though it's just, some cheap junk, but they paid for the name and they got it on there. So the name means a lot. Yeah, it's called capitalism. That's a dirty word these days with a lot of people, but it's called capitalism. So, do I think Lionel will make a Southern Pacific P8 Pacific? I have no idea. Are you planning on creating an Air Exchange trackmobile? That would be really, really cool. If they do a trackmobile again, I would say there's a really good chance, because I mean, you guys know, I love small motorized units, and I love the trackmobile. And if they do the trackmobile again, there's a good chance that we'll do one. Did I pre-order any of the C&O F19s? Oh, it's Alex. He's always commenting on my videos. Did you pre-order any of the C&O F19s or H7s? Yes, I pre-ordered both. The F19s, in case you didn't know, apparently they were sent back to China. They came here to Lionel in Concord, and then they had to send them back. And my understanding, and I didn't talk to anybody at Lionel, but my understanding is that there was some sort of cosmetic issue, so maybe a paint issue or something cosmetic, and so they had to send them back to the factory to get it fixed. So now I think the F19s are probably going to end up coming in like December or something like that. Whereas they should have come a month ago, but all I'll say is I'm glad Lionel discovered the mistake before they shipped them out to customers. That would have been a nightmare. The company that made my bridges, he's not in business anymore. So I've been looking for another company to do some custom bridges, and there's some other companies out there. But yeah, the guy that did my bridges, he's no longer doing it. It was just one guy, and I don't think he's doing it anymore. I don't know whatever happened to him, but his site's not up anymore and stuff like that. So on Eric's Train's trolley, probably not. I'm less of a fan of trolleys than I am of trackmobiles and ballast tampers and stuff like that. So probably not a trolley. I am excited about the F-19s and the H-7s, but the H-7, I think, was that the one that was the Richmond? Oh gosh, what was it? Let me look it up real quick. It was the Richmond, and I'm probably getting it wrong here. Give me a second. Yeah, the Richmond, Fredericksburg, and Potomac, whatever, RF&P. That's the one I ordered, and so I'm excited about that. Let's see here. Let's see here. Your thoughts on the new third rail C&O Allegheny? You mean the $5,000 Allegheny? I have thoughts on it, but I'm not gonna own one because they're expensive. I think that's why third rail is stopping making steam engines, because they've just gotten so expensive for them to make. Because I asked when they came out with that Allegheny, it was $5,000, and I emailed Scott over at Third Rail and I said, "Why is it $5,000? Does it have, something special?" And he said, "No, it's just expensive to make." So, yeah. Eric's Train's tank cars, we might do that, like a 3-pack or something like that. It's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm doing a video on the 2 triplexes I have right now, although I think it's going to be an abbreviated video because a couple of reasons. I've got the Halloween triplex, but I'm waiting on the Halloween passenger cars to go with it. So that'll be a video on that. I've got the pilot triplex, which I might do a review on, but people get upset about pilot locomotives. They don't understand them. And so, plus I've got the superset coming in, which will probably be in later this month or something. And so the superset has a regular looking triplex and Erie triplex. And so I will probably do a full review on the superset and just sort of an abbreviated video on the pilot and the and the Halloween. The Halloween triplex is so cool. It's so cool. It glows in the dark. And it is so cool. It's over here. Let me grab my auxiliary camera, and we'll turn this on. Give me a second. So there's the Halloween triplex. It is so darn cool, especially if you turn the lights off and you get it charged up. It glows and it looks really cool. I did some videos on Instagram with it glowing in the dark. So if you want to see it, check out those videos. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's so cool. And then there's the pilot triplex with it's the unpainted pilot version of the triplex, which I love. Lisa loves it, but a lot of people really don't. They really don't understand pilot locomotives. They get really bent out of shape, and they're like, if I did a full review of the pilot triplex, there'd be people saying, "I wish they'd painted it," and even if I said a dozen times in the videos, there is a painted version. This is just the one without paint. There'd be people saying, I wish Lionel had painted it. I don't like that. So it's probably better to do a full review on the painted version that is coming with the superset. That's all I'll say. A good ghost train. Yeah. I mean, like I'm looking forward to doing some cool running shots once the Halloween the matching Halloween passenger car, because the Halloween passenger cars also glow in the dark, and that's going to be really cool. And the Halloween passenger cars are on the water, so they should be here soon. Someone says, did you order the MTH CNJ P47 Pacifics? I did not. I need to order some more MTH stuff. Put that over there. The only MTH thing I have on order right now is I've got the tin plate Detroit monorail set that they announced. I did order one of those. I also want to order one of their subway sets. And so I got some MTH stuff coming, but not a ton. I'm waiting for MTH to release some more cool stuff, because every time MTH releases something like a Challenger or an SD70 or something, I'm like, come on, guys, the Challengers have been done, SD70s have been done, it's like, you got so much, you got like so much stuff to choose from, and that's what you're going to run. Now they've made some strides. The subway sets, really glad to see those. The monorail set, really happy about that. But I'd like them to keep doing some unusual stuff. Bring back the weed sprayer set. Bring back the bring back the aero train and the turbo train, and stuff like that. So we'll see. I don't have anything from Third Rail on order at the moment. I've been going back and forth about ordering some passenger cars. I got to free up the money in the budget, because it's like $2,500 for a Third Rail passenger car set. So it's a big ask, but I'm working on it. But I do have some Atlas stuff coming in. The Atlas steam engine, I think, is coming in fairly soon. I heard it might be on the water. So that's going to be really cool. And I've got some other Atlas stuff coming in that I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. Let's see here. Do I think Lionel will ever bring back the Warhorse lineup? What was that? What is the Warhorse lineup? You're going to have to elaborate. I'm not, maybe I'm an idiot, but I can't remember what that is. So someone says nothing beats the quality of the 40 to 55 trains. Sorry, guys. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean the 1940 to 1955 trains? They're good, but I think it's a bit presumptuous to I think the new trains are great. I mean, in terms of the build quality, they're great. Now you do have a lot more of the electronics that can break and stuff like that, but the bones of the modern locomotives, I think, are just as good, if not better, than the ones from way back in the day. I mean, I don't see it that way. So, but everybody's entitled to their opinion, and people tend to like. It's human nature that we tend to like the stuff that we grew up with and not like new stuff. It's human nature to be like, back in my day they did it right, and nowadays they don't do it right, and I try to not do that. I do it, but Everybody does it, but I try to embrace new stuff when I can, because I try to break out of that mold because it's really easy as you get older to sit there and go, I like it this way and no other way. So like when the base 3 came out and we have the app to control it, I've been trying to use the app a lot because I don't want to be one of those guys who's just like, doggone it, I like the handheld remote and that's the way I'll be until the day I die. I was born a legacy man, I'll die a legacy. It's like so. Um, so I try to consider that younger people and people that are new to the hobby might not feel the same way about those new things that I do. So while I'm not crazy about app control of trains, younger people might like it, and there are some advantages to it. So, you know, I try to be open-minded. I'm not always great at it, but I try to be. Do I think Lionel should purchase the tooling for the tin plate trains from MTH? No, I think MTH does a better job at it. What I think they should do is hash out another license so that MTH can put the Lionel name. MTH does a far better job with the tin plate trains than Lionel could ever do. So no, that would be a disaster. They should stay with MTH. MTH just needs to do them. Let's see here. Someone says if you had to start a new layout, what would you change and why? I would change a lot, and if and when we move, I will build a new layout, and that new layout will be built upon the lessons and mistakes that I have made with this layout. And there have been plenty of mistakes made with this layout. I mean, anybody who tells you that they've got the perfect layout and that it's there's nothing wrong with it, I don't believe in that. There's no such thing. I mean, even if you talk to world class layouts like the miniature Wonderland over in Germany, I'm sure if you talk to the people who work on that thing, there's probably tons of idiosyncrasies and issues with that layout that they would like to fix. So yeah, there's lots of stuff I would fix. Probably too much to talk about right now, but there's a lot of stuff I would do different. For one thing, I would probably make the layout a little bit smaller than it is now, but there's lots of stuff. What am I going to take with me off my layout? The trains, the bridges, the buildings, the signals, some track, maybe, hopefully, and some switches, and maybe some scenery. Probably not much, though. What I'll probably do is when the time comes, I think I've talked about this before, but when the time comes to take down the layout, what I'll probably do is strip everything that I want off the layout, and what will be left will be some scenery, some mountains, tunnels, stuff like that. And then what I'll probably do is ask people, invite people to come help me tear down the layout, and in exchange for their help tearing down the layout, they can take away, some of the scenery for themselves if they want it. Or I might give away some of the scenery, some of the mountains and stuff, or maybe sell it or something like that. Or I wouldn't want to make a lot of money on it, but sell it to cover shipping or something like that. But yeah, so a lot of it'll come with me. Trees will come with me probably, but the mountains and tunnels and stuff, that'll probably be given away or given to people who come down and help tear down the layout and stuff like that. When I use any moving cars on the roadways, that would be really cool. I haven't had time to do that, but I've seen layouts where they have little servo motors that are connected to wires that move the cars kind of back and forth. Or you could do those. What was that K line thing they used to have? Smart Streets or K line used to make a system of streets where you could have cars moving around. I don't think anybody ever picked it up after K line went out of business, but Um, those are really cool. What do you think of an O scale outdoor garden layout? Sure. Just make sure you're using the right kind of track. I think Atlas track can be used outdoors because it's UV treated and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I can leave it. I don't know if I can find it'd be hard to find buyers that want a train layout in their basement, I mean, it'd be cool, but I don't think that's going to happen. Do I think Lionel will do the Reading T1 in the 2025 catalog? I don't know. Probably not. I don't know when the last time they did it was. I've got two of them. They did it in somewhat recent history, but I don't know. Maybe they will. Who knows? Um, Vision Line Baldwin Centipede are in the works. Yeah, I would imagine that the Baldwin Centipedes will probably come back in 2020, 2025, probably in the 2025 catalog. They'll probably bring back either the centipedes or the CC1, probably the centipede, which I would love. I love the centipede set that I have, and I would love it if they would do some cool fantasy paint schemes, for the centipede, like a Texas special centipede or something like that. Can I see your favorite? I don't have a favorite locomotive. I really don't. It's hard to pick a favorite. When you have over 500 locomotives to choose from, it's hard to pick a favorite. Um, Having so many locomotives, it can be a blessing and a curse sometimes. I mean, on the one hand, you've got over 500 locomotives, but on the other hand, sometimes it makes it difficult to choose what you're going to run. Sometimes I just walk around and look at the shelves and think for a while, what do I want to run? What do I want to run? There's so much stuff, and it sometimes it takes a while to be like, okay, I'll run this one. So, um, yeah, the Texas Special F3s are really overdue. I would love it if they would do a scale Texas Special passenger set. That would be so cool. Um, Maybe we'll see that in 2025. Who knows? Um, Let me see here. Um, do I think Lionel will do a Vision Line DDA 40X? Probably not. They would have to retool it. I mean, you're not going to do a plastic bodied Vision Line engine. That would be odd. So, probably not. These days, Lionel, unfortunately, they don't really like to tool up brand new engines very often. They usually will um, take existing tooling and sort of upgrade it to the Vision Line, like they did with the triplex. They bought that from MTH and then turned it into a Vision Line engine. Um, it's been a while since Lionel has tooled up from scratch a brand new Vision Line engine. Which maybe the Class A was the last. I don't even know if the Class A was a brand new tooling. Yeah, so it's been a while. I'll be doing another inventory count probably sometime next year. I did one in 2023, so oops, probably next year. Any concern that Lino really can't get the paint correct? A lot of products still seem to. Yeah, Lionel and paint. I don't know what it is with Lionel and paint, but I don't know. I think the guy who does the paint mixing at the factory in China, maybe he's like a colorblind or something. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Um, what is the fan behind me for? Oh, that's a little fan that plugs into the track lighting. It's just a fan just to cool me down. If it's hot down, a little stuffy down here, I'll turn that on. Just a little fan that clips into the track lights. Yeah, I'm gonna review the F-19. I try to review everything. Sometimes it takes a while. I mean, I've got so much stuff to review right now. It's not even funny. I mean, I've got the triplexes. I've got the Menards diesels. Uh, I've got the new um, FEF Northern to review. I've got where is it? I've got I don't know where it is. Oh, I've got some diesels to it, some Lionel diesels to review. Uh, I've got yeah, there's a ton of stuff I've got to do. Uh, I've always got like I'm always in this perpetual state of having about 40 or 50 videos in the queue that I'm planning on or working on, and so it's always a constant struggle to get stuff out. Um, I also want to do a video about base three, so I got to do that too. So, but yeah, but I try to get it all out, especially as we get towards the holidays. I try to get as many videos as I can out. So, um, I'm not doing my video about the base three is not going to be a tutorial on how to use it. There's plenty of documentation on how to use the base three. My video is going to be just my opinions on it, the pros and cons of the new base three system. Um, yeah, it does take a lot of work to clean the layout. Yeah, I'm still doing the Transformer collection. That's funny. Someone asked about that. I still have it. One of these days I will do a video on them. I've got a ton of different Transformers, and one of these days I want to do a video on the history of Transformers. I've got tons of them. I've got pretty much everyone that Lionel has ever made, and that's a tall order because back in the day, in the pre-war and the post-war days, they made. I mean, it was crazy. They would have like in one catalog, they would have like 8 different Transformers. Um, it was crazy. I mean, I don't know why they did that, other than that they just were rolling in money and just could do it. Nowadays, you see one, maybe two power supplies in a catalog, but it wasn't like that back in the old days. And there's so many variations that getting all those variations took a long time. But I've got pretty much all of them. There's one or two that I don't have examples of because they're super rare. But pretty much any post-war or pre-war Transformer you can think of, I've got it. And then I've also got all of the modern Transformers as well. So, um, yeah. Have I received any locomotives from manufacturers missing parts? Locomotives? No. Um, no, I have. Gosh, that would suck. No, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Um, I'm sure Lionel will bring back the AC9s. It's in their inventory. They did it in recent years. I think they did it. What was it? 2017, 2016, something like that when they last did the AC9. So yeah, they'll definitely do it again. When? I don't know, but yeah. Let us know which Transformers you need. The ones I need are so rare and hard to find that it wouldn't do you any good if I asked. Nobody has them. It was funny. The last Transformer that I got was one where it was incredibly rare, and it's a pre-war Transformer, and it's one that all of the books don't say. It's not listed in any of the books. Like if you get the history books and the books on Lionel Greenberg's and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't exist in those books. But I had seen pictures of it, and it was a type. I think it was the type J, and from the pre-war period, and I'd heard of its existence, but None of the books listed it. If you took a list of pre-war Transformers, the J was never in there, but I had seen a couple pictures of one. And so I put it in an eBay search and a saved search on eBay, and it sat in there for 5 or 6 years. And finally, I got a hit on it. Somebody had a pre-war Type J, and I bought it up. Didn't cost a lot of money because nobody cares about Transformers. I think it cost like $30. And so I finally got it. And that is the rarest one that I have. It's rare when even the books, the history books don't list it. So that just goes to show that the history books and Greenbergs and all that stuff, they're not always right. They do leave stuff out. So it's not the Bible or anything. The Pensy S1 that I reviewed, I still have it. That's right in front of me. I'm looking at it right now. It's in the case right in front of me. Does the Type J work? Yeah, it works. That's the cool thing about those old Transformers is, by and large, I can't think, probably 99% of the time, those old Transformers, the most they need is a new cord, because the cord has become frayed, and sort of a shock hazard. But I don't I don't recall ever having one that just didn't work. I've had ones where I had to replace the cord, but they just work. I mean, those old Transformers, they were built like tanks. I mean, they're very simple. There's really not that much that can go wrong. And they just work. So I've got Transformers from the 19 teens, from the 20s and 30s, and they work perfectly. Now, they don't have circuit breakers on them, so you have to be, if you're going to use them, you have to be judicious on how you use them, because you wouldn't want to use it on a modern locomotive, because there's no circuit breakers on them. They didn't start having circuit breakers in their Transformers until late 30s, definitely the post-war, but yeah, for a long time, Lionel Transformers were kind of unsafe. But yeah, they work great. So the Type J works. I don't have, in fact, every single one of my Transformers that I have in my collection works. There's not a single one that does not work. Yeah, there really isn't much to them at all. There were no circuits. There were no circuit boards, integrated circuits, anything like that. They were very simple. What's my take on Lionel's quality control? Hit or miss. um, you think Lionel will add the chain to the front coupler of the J1E? Is there no chain on there? Are they not putting it on there? I don't know. Probably something. I mean, you could always contact Lionel and ask them, and they'll be happy to. They might add it if you ask them. So, let's see here. How are you liking the base 3? I'm gonna the base 3. The base 3. Like I said, I'm working on a video where I want to go over some of my opinions on it, and it's a mixed bag. There's pros and cons. Certainly for someone who's never been able to buy a legacy system because they weren't being made anymore. For someone who wasn't able to buy one, having the base 3 and the Cab 3 app is a godsend. I mean, it lets you do stuff that you couldn't. It lets you access all of the advanced features on these expensive locomotives. But if you're someone like me who's coming from legacy to base 3, there's certainly, and you're going to the app, there's certainly some things that are not done very well. Let's put it that way. The app, there's room for improvement on the app, and you know, I think that Lionel will probably eventually bring out another remote because I think there's enough demand for it. I hope they do because the app it's okay, but I still prefer using my handheld legacy remote because there's things you can do on there that you can't do on the app or can't do well. So until they get the app to the point where you can do everything on there just as well as the handheld remote, I think I'm going to prefer the handheld remote. Um, Now, one big thing that I really love about the Base 3 is that I paired up my legacy handheld remote. So, uh, crap, where is it? I don't know where it is. Um, the legacy remote. Um, of course, I can't find it right now. But the legacy, I paired up the legacy remote to the Base 3 so that I can use the Base 3 and my legacy handheld remote at the same time. And I love it because the Base 3 has way, way better signal reception than the legacy base. With the legacy base, I actually had to split the antenna and put little feeder antennas in every room here because you just didn't get good signal everywhere. You couldn't use the remote everywhere, and even with the feeder antennas, there were still several dead spots here in the layout where you couldn't use the remote. It didn't get the signal. It wasn't able to communicate with the base. With the Cab 3, those issues have been eliminated. It runs everything. It runs in every spot down here. The signal comes through great. I'm able to use the remote anywhere, and it works fantastic. So from that point, so that part I do love about the Base 3. Okay, stop. I'm not going to run 4014. I'm not going to run 4014. So I know you've asked about 50 times, and I already said no. I'm not going to run 4014. It's not on the layout right now. It's up on a shelf. I'm not going to take the time to go get it and set up the camera and run 4014. Anyway, so yeah, the Base 3 signal, the signal that it puts out for the remote is fantastic. So I don't have any of those dead spots anymore, and I love it. So for me, the dream combo now is the Base 3 paired with my handheld legacy remote. That's a match made in heaven. Works fantastic. The Cab 3 app, it works everywhere, but it does have some shortcomings, which I hope they will fix in future updates. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if that happens or not. So, anyway, all right. So it's 9:45. So I think we're going to call it a day. But I did want to talk about that new Vision engine, and I think it's really cool. I'm really excited they're doing it. I think the price is right. But I do wish they would do a superset, and I wish there would be a gold version or a Lionel Lines version. That's what I hope they do. I hope they do some sort of bonus offerings where they do a superset. It'd be cool. I mean, a Rail Chief passenger set to go with that 700E. That would be so cool. A freight set would be cool, and then a gold version and a Lionel Lines version. So I hope they increase the offerings, but as it stands right now, I like it. I'm going to order 2 of them, the gray one and the pacemaker. So I'm excited about them. Someone said, have you tried the Cab 1 remote with the Base 3? I don't have a Cab 1 remote. So the answer to that is no. I only have the legacy remote. I did find a nice treat though. A couple nights ago, I was remodeling part of the layout to fit in more display cases, and I found a 990 legacy set, a second one that I had bought that I never used. So I've got a brand new 990 legacy remote and command base in brand new in the box back there. So if my current remote ever breaks, I've got a backup. I think that's why I bought it, was to have a backup. So anyway, so I think we'll call it a night. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun. I will be doing another live show at some point in the near future, sort of a 75,000 subscriber spectacular where I'll give away some, probably an Eric's Trains caboose. Might give away one of the NW2 switchers. Might give away a speeder. So stay tuned for all that, and stay tuned for more videos. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoy the new Vision line offering. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are too. And that's going to do it for now. So have a good night. Stay safe, and I'll see you